Welcome back to Fox 43 Morning News. Earlier this hour, we spoke with Republican Congressman Lloyd Smucker, who shared his takeaways on President Biden's first State of the Union address. Now we want to get the thoughts from the Democratic side. So joining us now is U.S. Senator Bob Casey. Good morning, and thanks so much for being with us today.
Good morning.
So we want to start out with what President Biden started out with. It was his first State of the Union address. We have a lot going on here in the United States. However, he did lead off with the crisis in Ukraine. Do you think that was the right message to start off with at this time?
Absolutely. And I think the president gave a very unifying message, not only about Ukraine and what we have to do to confront a brutal dictator, Vladimir Putin, but also, I think the president spoke about unifying the country on a range of issues. But I think we're all inspired at this moment to take these actions to crush Russian aggression because of what the Ukrainian people have done on their own. They want to be free. They want to remain free. They want to be an independent nation. And their courage and their resolute determination to protect their freedom, their families, and their nation, I think has been inspiring for everyone. They've had a stubborn refusal to be intimidated by this murderous dictator and his military. So we got to help them. We got to keep getting military assistance into the country as well as humanitarian assistance. I thought the president outlined a good strategy, but we have a lot of work to do.
And then here back home, inflation, the economy, it's one of the biggest things we're dealing with. Last night, you mentioned in a statement that you and Democrats would continue to lower costs for families and build on strong economic recovery. What do you think still needs to be done to get America back on track? Because we're not there yet. And what challenges are you seeing when it comes to inflation right now? Because it doesn't appear to be stopping.
Now, there's no question that people are paying higher prices for gasoline and food and so much else. And I think there are steps we can take to get gas prices down. One of the best ways to deal with this, however, is what we already did in 2021. One of the best things we did was provide a lot of families in Pennsylvania, the families of 2.2 million children, with help through the child tax credit. We just took an existing tax credit that's been around for 25 years and made it more generous. Those families raising children every day, trying to get through a pandemic, now trying to get through inflation, need help. The number one utilization of the child tax credit payments for those families raising their children was purchasing food and gasoline and paying for rent and all the rest. So one thing we should do, and I hope Republicans would help us, they did not help us on this in 21, is to pass another extension of those child tax credit payments. Help get these families through at least this year, if not beyond.
And, something the Republicans have been bringing up a lot is energy cost and what the U.S. can do to not rely on places like Russia when it comes to energy. Do you think there could be a compromise on producing more energy here in the U.S. so we're not dependent on other nations when it comes to a compromise on that and these child tax credits to help the people in the U.S. right now?
Well, I sure hope so. The good news is because of American innovation and American workers and science and research, not only have we been leading the world in fighting off the pandemic, but we've also led the world in terms of the diversification of our sources of energy. But we have, as you know, in Pennsylvania, a lot of natural gas, and that's a very strong defense against any kind of energy dependence. So I hope that we can work together across the aisle on that issue, on energy generally. But I think helping families right now with an enhanced version of the child tax credit, just think about it. Dauphin, York, and Lancaster counties, just those three counties, 250,000 families benefited from this, not to the tune of thousands of dollars a month, but $400 a month, $420, $430, in that range. It's a good thing to do, especially when people are paying higher prices.
All right, Senator Bob Casey, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Of course, Ukraine and the economy, two big things that are impacting people every day here in the United States, and it's going to take a lot of bipartisan effort for things to change. Again, if you want to see what we spoke with Congressman Lloyd Smucker a little bit earlier today, and if you just missed the interview we had with Senator Bob Casey, we're going to have both of those on our website for you, fox43.com.